put, like, most outhouses put a half moon into the door.
Yep.
Well, with apple trees and cherry trees back in Iowa, you get weird reflections of those half moons or crescent moons. So I thought the outhouse was haunted again. So I set it on fire again.
Wow.
And that time they kind of gave me a little problems. I mean,
it was like a great movie.
Right. Well,
So-
the district attorney can take over at some point, be like, hey,
And then
man,
I was
fucking follow
like
through.
14, 15 years old, just got my farming license. Back in Iowa, you could be 14 years old, and as long as it had farm plates on it, you could drive it wherever.
Yep.
Well, I had a 64 Ford pickup,
Nice.
and I went to, there's this barn out in the middle of nowhere. We were going to have a party out there. Well, somebody got there early and accidentally knocked over a kerosene lamp and set the barn on fire.
Oh, man.
Well, everybody else took off.
That's an expensive
My
one.
64 decided they didn't want to start. So I'm sitting there trying to start it. I finally get it started. I get down the road or down the driveway of this barn.
Police and the fire department.
And here comes the fire department. And here come the sheriff's department. They said, well, why'd you set the barn on fire? So I said, I didn't, but I was the only one caught, so I took the blame for it. I did,
Stand up
a year. I think I did a year of probation.
Mm.
Well, the one that got me sent to the military, I was not even there. The guy that actually told his mom and dad that I set the place on fire. Me and him went to high school together. Me and him didn't
so
get along.
So he knew already that you were going to fucking, if you said that was it for you.
Right. So I got set up. I went to the judge. My dad, who had 34 years in the Marine Corps, he was a recruiter in my hometown. He went there in full dress uniform. I won't ever forget this. And the judge says, well, you're guilty. Do you want to go to prison? Do 3 to 5 in prison? At the age of 16. No,
Yeah.
I'm 16 years of age. Or 4 to 6 military.
Well, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's no brainer at all.
I ain't going to jail.
I'll take the military.
Right?
Still like prison though. I mean, really.
Somewhat, but you
Pretty
still get to.
You get to play with
still
guns.
It's true.
You still get to be somewhat free. You get to
Have money.
somewhat do what you want to do. Somewhat.
Yeah.
During wartime, that's a little on the shaky side. When you're going through the freedom time, military is easy cake job. Just got to follow orders every day. It's easy bake oven. But anyway, the judge says, Mr. Wickham. I said, yes, sir. He goes, is there a parent in the courtroom? They'll sign papers to let you go to the military because you're 16. We're trying you as an adult, but you still have to have a parent sign at the age of 16. My dad stood up in his full dress uniform and said, yes, sir, that's my son. He's ready to go in the Marine Corps. And I'm sitting there at my chair looking at my dad going, yeah, you think I'm going in the Marine Corps? So they called us both up to the bench. My dad just signed his John Henry. I grabbed that piece of paper. I flew out of the courtroom. I drove as fast as I could. I didn't care if cops were behind me with their reds and blue. Or back then it was just red lights.
Right.
This is 1971. Flew down to the recruiting office. Ran into the Navy office. I said, give me the paperwork to join the Navy. I threw him the piece of paper that my dad signed. He's sitting there. He goes, oh, so you're here to sign up for the Navy because you don't want to go to prison? I said, yes, sir. He read everything, and then he seen Edward Henry Wickham. He stopped. Chief Petty Officer stops dead in his tracks. He goes, Edward Henry Wickham. He looked up at me and said, boy, your dad ain't Marine Recruiter Wickham, staff, or First Sergeant Wickham over next door, is he? I said, yep. He says, here's the paperwork. Start signing. He said, sign here, sign here, sign here.
Get out of here.
We'll fill it all out later. So I'm sitting there, like, signing away. I never signed my name so many times in my freaking life at that point. As soon as I got all the paperwork signed, we started filling out the top. We got through maybe 2 pages. The next thing I know is the glass doors on the front of the building used to open up to walk in. Well, my dad decided these doors were coming in to open, so he just kicks in the door, blows the glass out, comes in. He says, boy, you better get over here so you can sign up for the Marine. And his chief petty officer stood up and said, sorry, he's a sailor.
Oh, I bet Dad was pissed.
Oh, Dad tore his office apart, tore the Air Force office apart. The Army got smart and locked the door and barricaded the door. He wouldn't touch the Navy because who signs their check? Secretary of the Navy. So he kind of left the Navy alone, but he was mad. He was madder than a hornet.
Wow.
Yeah, he forgave you though, right?
Oh, no.
No? Even being on the SEAL team?
Even being part of the SEAL. I wasn't actually a SEAL. I was classified as a SEAL because I was U.S. Navy sniper.
Okay.
So I was classified as a part of the SEAL team. I didn't actually run with the SEAL team. I ran with the Black Ops Marines.
Okay. Interesting.
You know, they have to have high guard. And what's better to do is have a sailor that could knock the gnat off a fly's ass without even touching the fly.
Right.
You know, my parents, my dad, my uncles, they were all World War II vets, Korea.
All of the Marines?
Well, no.
Or all branches?
There was all branches. We had the Air Force, we had the Navy, we had the Army, we had my dad and a couple other uncles that were Marines. There are still former Marines. Even there, we buried them all. They're in the ground now. There's still former Marines. And I can say hoorah on that one.
Yes, you
can. But, yeah, that was... My dad never talked to me again.
Really?
Wow. Not one word.
Oh, wow. He was that pissed at you?
Damn.
He didn't start talking to me until my oldest son, of my twin boys, my oldest twin, joined the Marine Corps. Then Dad started talking to me again.
Wow.
But for 21 years, he never said a word to me.
I bet you were funny looking running out of that courtroom. Everybody was probably like dumbfounded.
Everybody. My mom was like,
Even did your dad know what you were going to do?
No. He didn't have no clue that I was going to go sign up for the Navy. After he started talking to me, he asked me, why'd you join join the Navy and not join the Marines? I said, because I didn't want to grow up and be a dick like you.
I don't blame him. Don't blame you.
Sorry, Marines, if any of them get out there listening, but most of you guys are dicks.
Yeah.
My stepdad was a Marine.
Yeah. I've known
Wasn't he a dick?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hope he doesn't listen to this, but whatever.
Maybe he can come tell the story.
If he has a problem with telling me the squid that got you started, come and punch him in the nose. I fought with Marines. I fought with them for 4 years. I ain't scared.
My household felt like the Marine Corps.
Amen to that one, brother.
Get the fuck up. Go to school. Get the fuck up.
Have your old man with you.
Get the fuck up.
Have your old man
go,
with you.
Go. Get in the car right now, motherfucker. You fucking faggot.
Hey, have your dad wake you up at 4:30 in the morning. You live on a farm in Iowa.
Oh, God.
You have 10,000 head of cattle, about 3,000 head of pig to work with. But you had to get up and do morning calisthenics for a half hour. Then you went out and did your chores. Then you came in, you ate breakfast. Then you went and got ready for school.
Damn.
And then when you came home at night, you went out and did your chores. Then you'd have your night shoe polishing.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I was going through school with the most glossiest pair of boots you'll ever see in your life. Most of us went through elementary, junior high, high school.
I beat the crap out of my clothes, man.
Your boots,
Yeah.
if they went 4 years, they were trash. I wore the same pair of shoes or same pair of boots from my 7th grade until I got thrown out of high school in my 9th grade year.
Wow.
2 years. And guess what? I came home and I still wore those boots for another 6 years. I put them back on in 1978.
Did you have
And
them
they
resold
found-
ever? Dang.
They finally fell apart in 85.
Wow. I've never had a pair of shoes that long. 6 months is my record on shoes.
Really?
Well-
I've had these.
With
These
the
are the,
exception of this last few years, yeah.
these are the best shoes I've ever owned, man. I've owned these things for like, they got a hole now, but
I'm
gosh,
so
man,
hard
like
on
4
shoes,
years?
man. I blow
4
the
years?
fuckers out in 3 months usually.
I got a pair of Skechers on now. I remember my first white pair of Skechers back about 10 years ago went for almost 4 years before they finally just fell apart.
Mm.
But then I went to boot camp. Next stop. Well, I went to boot camp, and I think I was in my 3rd week of boot camp. They take you out to the rifle range.
Mm.
You get 100 rounds to shoot. I missed 2 out of 100 out of the bullseye.
Wow.
Next thing I know, I had a Marine and a SEAL standing there. They go, "Son, how would you like to join the sniper team?" 16, going on 17, brain damage. "Oh yeah, take me away, let's go."
Oh boy. That's what you get to do.
Then I found out
Yeah.
you should have just went to gunner's mate school and said, "That's it." But oh no, they take me over to Camp Pendleton, take me over to sniper school, learned how to be a sniper.
How long was that? It was 6, 8 weeks or something?
That was 7 weeks. It would have been a lot longer, but they said I was too good of a shot to try to change anything. They didn't like the way I did anything, but my dead accurate.
Right.
You know,
They were
when-
dumbfounded.
when
Let
the-
him do it.
when this Marine staff sergeant said, "You see that can out way out there?" I said, "Yeah, about 1,200 yards." He says, "Yeah." I said, "That ain't a can, that's a 55-gallon drum." He goes, "Well, let's see if you can hit it there, sailor."
Bink.
I said, "What's in the can?" He says, "Water. We'll know if you hit it." First shot I put right through it. He pulled his glasses away, his field glasses away, looked at me, put them back up, looked, can's leaking out. He looked back at me, he says, "You don't need any more training." He goes, Wickham. "Is your dad Edward Henry Wickham?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Really?" I mean, California, and there's Marines that know my father way out here. You know, I was 1,200 miles that way,
Wow.
east.
That's a culture shock away.
You know, and he goes, "I served with your dad in the first part of Vietnam when the Marines were first allowed over there, 1965.
It's a small army, huh?
I was like,
Navy.
"That's cool." He goes, "It's kind of a small world, isn't it, boy?"
Right?
I was like, "Not really." I was hoping to get through all this and not run into anybody that knew my old man, but oh no. Ran into a staff sergeant that served with my dad. Yeah, next thing I know, they sent me home for 30 days. And while I was at home, I got my papers